Alright, so now that this is back on, let's try installing the lights. So as you can see, I've already installed this one, and I've done this because I had no idea what I was doing, and I was just trying to find a way to install it properly and show you guys. So I'll show you on the other side. So the first thing you're going to need is a drill with a 5/16 drill bit. That's what works for me because that's the size of my bolt. And what I'm basically going to do is, as you can see, this thing here has a mounting bracket, and I'm going to drill through the bottom of the bumper there. I drill through the bottom of the bumper to get the bolt through for the mounting bracket. And that's basically how the light is held on. So we're just going to replicate this on the other side. But before you do this, make sure you position your light approximately where you want it to be. It's adjustable, so it can go left and right, it can go up and down, but still position it the way you want it to be. Alright, so to mock up where you want your hole to be on the bumper, you're going to take, if you're buying the same lights that I have, you're going to take this small screw, and there's already going to be a nut in there. So all you need to do is get one of the big washers, put it on, stick it through the big hole of the bracket, because this is going to allow it to pivot up and down so that you can adjust the height of it, and then simply thread it on. Just make it tight by hand. It doesn't need to be obviously tightened with a wrench, because we're just putting it on here to test it and see where we want it to sit. So once you've made it pretty tight by hand, you want to try and squeeze it in there somehow and make it fit into the bumper. So actually, before I put this in, I just want to show you what I'm planning on, how I'm planning on wiring it. See that hole right there through the frame? That is where the AC lines go through, which is right down there. Right there. It's definitely within reach, and that's where I'm going to run the wires through, and then I'm going to have them come up this way and attach them to this front frame, whatever, where the bumper is attached, and then run them across to the battery and my other wiring. So that's where I'm going to aim for these wires to go through. So as you can see, I have the light in. Try and get it as parallel, try and get the bottom of the bracket as parallel to the bumper as you can, and then look under the bumper and kind of see where it sits. That way you can sort of eyeball the hole. Alright, so this is my view from down under the bumper. That's the wire from the light, that's the bracket, and that's the light. As you can see, I have this bolt right here that's holding one of these lines in place, and what I'm going to look for when I drill the hole is to align the end of the bracket with the end of this bolt. Now obviously, to do that, you're going to have to take this bolt off and the bracket off, and then insert the bracket back in there and then drill the hole, because obviously you don't want to drill through your light. So alright, so now that we have our hole, which as you can see, it's right there, we can test fit our light and see how it fits. Alright, so this is lining up perfect. As you can see, the bolt is through the hole, and yeah, it's not very straight, but I can always adjust that. It's not even bolted on right now, so it's wobbly, as you can see. So what we want to do next is take that bolt out, take the light out, and we want to start working on the wiring. So the reason why we want to start working on the wiring now is because this wire is very short here, and as I said earlier, I plan on running it through down there. Can't see the hole anymore, but it's down there, so oh, it's right there. It's where that pipe right there goes through. So because I want to run it through there, I need obviously a much longer wire. So by running the wires first, I kind of make everything easier. So the way I have everything set up right now, you know how I told you earlier in the video to attach this terminal that comes from the fuse inside the car to the switch and then grounds in the car? Well, I just realized that I was stupid for saying attach it to the negative terminal of the battery, because how am I going to create a closed circuit to the light when this closes here? So basically what I did earlier was ground the battery to the chassis inside the car. Yeah, you can see where this is going. So what you want to do is don't connect this to the battery, rather connect it to both negative terminals that come from the light, and then both of the lights will be connected to the positive terminal here. So one positive wire will run from that light all the way to here, and then the other positive wire will run from this light all the way up, which I actually ran it already. This is it. Connect here, and then the negatives will run from that light all the way to this, and then from this light to this. So that's pretty much it. Alright, so what we want to do now is basically start measuring, and what I mean by that is start measuring how much wire we're going to need. So the ground needs to connect here, and it'll go from here, so just put it down there and kind of run it freely like this. So this should be enough for the ground, and then this is definitely going to be enough for the positive. So I'm just gonna connect these wires to the light and then start actually running it, and obviously I'll just cut them at the end. Alright, so the problem that I'm facing right now is that I'm actually running out of connections. So I have one of these, which I'll use for one of these, and then all I have left is this kind, which, well, I'll have to use this. I mean, it's all I have. Basically, they click into each other. So that's really all I have left. So that's going to take care of the positive and the negative, and then I have these two O-ring connectors left, which are going to take care of the positive to the battery and, well, negative, I guess. What I might actually do is, since I have another set of these clicky connector type of thing left, I might cut this and then rewire it with the clicky connector thing, because I don't like this setup here with the bent O-rings, and I don't like that. So I'm just gonna wire them this way. Alright, well, I would call this connection done. It's ugly, but whatever. Alright, so now that this is done, it's time to install the light and run the wires. Alright, so what I'm going to do before I even bolt the light on or anything, I'm just going to put it down in there and then start running the wires. So I'm going to feed the wires first through that hole. Hopefully I can easily get them on the other side. Alright, so now that I got the wires through, I shoved the light back in there, and what I'm going to do now is start zip tying them. So I found this wire here that is tucked in pretty well because I don't want these wires touching the radiator. So I'm just going to zip tie them on some other wires.
This is where we fall we try to find home, so far and so wide. A distant moment crashes down as our memories collide.
Alright, so I just clipped the end off of this. As you guys saw in the previous clip, this was the connection that comes from the inside of the car, from the switch, which grounds onto the chassis after the switch. So I need to redo this electrical tape here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these, crimp it to here, and then this negative wire and where is it? The negative wire from the other light, which is this one, are going to connect to this through the other connection, and then the two positives will connect onto one single ring terminal on this on the battery here. And I'm just gonna zip tie everything together and be done. Negative terminals are officially connected. I'm just gonna wrap them in some electrical tape. Alright, so this is the positive from the driver's side light, and this is the positive from the passenger side light. Oh wow, this is long. Okay. So I'm just going to have to trim those down and connect them over there. Alright, so now this is done. And all we have to do is connect it to the positive terminal of the battery, and they should work. Oh, I forgot. We have to mount that passenger side light first, because it's not bolted on right now. So these lights are now officially connected, and I'm so eager to see what they look like. So before I even mount that second light, I'm gonna go give those a try and see if all of the work I put in works, basically. Alright, so obviously that one's not mounted. This one is, but it's not adjusted because I haven't had time yet. So tonight, when it's dark outside, I can turn the headlights off and I can adjust these just the way I want them. But for now, let's run our little test. Sweet, that looks awesome. Now let's get that second one mounted, and I can't wait to adjust them tonight and actually use those when I need to. Alright, and now that both of these are mounted, All the wiring is done, everything works. This project is officially done, and I will be back tonight with a little clip to show you how they work.
Drive me down to the pine trees, looking for lost hopes and dreams. I feel you breathe